TikTok, please let's like the live. Let's share the live. Face being seen on or not being seen, we still have to share the live. But please, um, let's like, let's share. Also, click on the heart icon beside Busio Race at the top of the screen and join the team. If you're a member of the team, please click on it so that you can drop a heart me. These things help us get on the FYP, and I know you already know that. Thanks, Femilewa, for liking the live. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, there's something we need to quickly do. Information Juko. All right, let me put up the image of today's session. All right. '90s, 1966 Coup exposed secrets from the special branch report. So I've been making references to this particular stuff for a bit. We're going to listen to conversations around that today. But before we get to the conversation, please, if you're on YouTube, please like the live. Thank you very much for joining us on YouTube. Omolara Okuntari, good to see you. Good afternoon from here. All right, so please let's quickly do this before we get into the session proper. Kindly like the live, and like we always do, I'm going to have to take a few seconds to quickly share. Please do the same. Thank you. YouTube. All right. If you're on YouTube, okay, we have a number of people on YouTube now. That's good. Thank you very much for joining us. Sorry about that. And just give me a few seconds to get it done here, please. Okay. So normally we usually have Twitter Spaces, but not today. So that means we have to share the link on Twitter as well. You're going to like today's session. You're going to really like it. Alright. And this is not the only video we're going to be playing, right? But it's the first one. And then others will come afterwards. You know. But you're gonna be informed. I can assure you you're going to like this session. But please let's quickly share. I'm doing the same as well. But please let's all do it together. In the next 1 minute everything will be done, and then we can get into the conversation. All right. I'm having a little hiccup here. Perhaps we just start by, while I'm trying to get this thing sorted, let me just read something to you from the description of the video. Okay, so while I'm trying to sort these things out, let me just quickly explain something. So I remember saying to us that one of the most important documents that one has to study if you really want to understand the 1966 Coup is a special branch report. Why is that important? Because so different people have written books, right? Adewale Ademoyiga wrote Why We Struck. Bengbule wrote Nigeria's Five Majors. John Desenjo wrote the Nigerian Civil War. In 80 wrote some things about that. Frederick Forsyth wrote his own book, Biafra Story. Gina Achebe wrote There Was a Country. People wrote different things. But the Special Branch Report is a document that was produced after the interrogation of 200 people, right? And if I have to still explain some things about it, I will do so once we are done listening to this particular video audio. I'll read some things about it. You'll find that in the book by John Desenjo. It's called The Nigerian Civil War. I think it's a very, very, very important document. However, for some reason, we don't usually consider that document. Maybe a lot of us don't know about it, or people just don't care about it. Interestingly, there's one historian, so-called historian. I'm not going to mention his name, so nobody say we they fight. But there's this historian, like I said, so-called, because I don't know how you're going to be Anyway, this particular historian has an issue with the special branch report, and then he'll be like, oh, it doesn't really matter. And I'm wondering, how come it doesn't matter? So this is something that was done between January and April of 1966, right? Interrogation of 200 people, and then you have a report that essentially puts together everything they said. So for instance, when you read this person's book, you get an idea, you get something from Adewale Ademoyiga, you get something else from Bengbule, you get something else from Matebo. Different people have different things they're trying to, put out there. And somehow it's like you have this elephant, and you have blind people touching an elephant, and they're telling you different things they can perceive, but then you want to have like a bird's eye view, right? So you have to piece everything together, and one particular piece of the puzzle that must be in the mix is the special branch report. So this afternoon we're going to be listening to this particular video on the 1966 Coup exposed, secrets from the special branch report, right? Okay, I just want to be sure that everything, okay, so just give me a few more seconds. Let me just share this thing and then we can get started right away. Mambo. All right, we're good. So please, again, if you're on YouTube, I know. All right, we're good. So please, again, if you're on YouTube, I know I'm not on the camera, you can't see me, but we still need you to power tap. If you're on YouTube as well, on TikTok, on Facebook, please like the live, share the live. We want to get this out there, and the way to also get people to, get in here to see what's happening is by power tapping, especially on TikTok. So please, let's share, let's like, and I really appreciate your support. But you're going to have a great time today. So let's get into this particular video. Please, Again, I'm sure you get the point. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that if we don't like this thing, it might go off. So please do it. Thank you. So I'll just read the description. Again, this video is actually on the YouTube channel, and there are many other videos on the channel. So you would want to watch the YouTube. I'm sorry, go to the YouTube channel and then watch a lot of videos there. It's free of charge. But you're going to enjoy every bit of it. All right. So let's get right. I'm going to read the description and then we'll get right into it. Okay. All right. You've heard the myth. Now meet the receipts. In this video, we are unpacking the most overlooked but game-changing document on the January 1966 coup, the Special Branch Report of April 1966. It is the most important file on the subject, yet almost no one talks about it. Why? Because it cuts through the noise and exposes truth many would rather keep buried. For starters, Adewale Ademoyiga, often hailed as one of the coup's masterminds, wasn't even in the inner circle until months after the original planners had started meeting. We also dismantled the tired narrative that several Yoruba officers were part of the coup's planning. The facts are clear and undeniable. Ademoyiga was the only Yoruba officer among the actual plotters. The rest were pulled in just hours before the operation. And yes, we're dragging the baseless claim that Chief Obafemi Awolowo planned a coup from prison into the light. It's not just far-fetched; it's fiction, straight out of the Biafran propaganda playbook. The evidence simply doesn't back it up. Finally, we reflect on the idealists like Ademoyiga and Nzogu who believed they were fighting for a revolution. In truth, they were only told what they needed to hear to join the mission. The real puppet masters had different plans, and when the dust settled, those idealists were left holding the bag. If you're tired of recycled lies and revisionist history, this one is for you. We're naming names, dropping dates, and setting the record straight. One uncomfortable fact at a time. All right, that's the description of the video, or I'll call it the introduction. So here's a video, take a listen, enjoy, and please power tap as you listen. And like also if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, like, share. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your presence. All right, enjoy. Today, if one were to ask, when did the preparation for the revolution really begin? The most accurate answer would be from 1961, because the three of us who formed the nucleus of the revolutionary group had met in... Sorry, I just remembered something. There's an information I need to put out there. So we're going to start. The first book I'm reading, or what I'm talking about right now, is actually from Why We Struck by Adewale Ademoyiga, right? And I'm going to connect Adewale Ademoyiga's book to the Special Branch Report. So the first bit you're hearing now is actually from Adewale Ademoyiga, and that book is called Why We Struck. But where we're going is actually the Special Branch Report. I'll speak more about that much later. Thanks. Please don't forget to power tap and like the live while you listen. Please don't forget to power tap and like the live while you listen. It's very, very important. That's the way we keep this thing going. All right? Thank you. Today, if one were to have met in that year, although we are not there and then planned a revolution, we had seen eye to eye and we knew that we had a common cause. It was as if the seed was sown at that time and only needed time to germinate, grow, and bear fruit. But these meetings were between Ifajuna and me on the one hand, and between Nzogu and me on the other. This pattern remained almost the same throughout. When you read this book, which I read, you go with the idea that it was three people that actually planned this stuff, but that's not actually what happened. That's what he thought. And how do I know this? There's a document called the Special Branch Report of the events of 15th January 1966. And I'm going to read something about that before I read to you what I found there that contradicts what Adewale Ademoye, well, not contradicts in the sense of that he's lying, or just contradicts into the point where you understand the fact that he was very naive. So let's start by reading The Nigerian Civil War. This book is by a man called John de St. John. It says here, the full truth about the details of the first coup may never be known, since all the principal conspirators are dead, killed in the July counter-coup or in the Civil War. But sufficient evidence is available to eliminate some of its central mysteries. The best account is the Federal Police Report, on which I have based much of the narrative. This document, prepared by the Nigerian Special Branch, took 3 months to finish. It was ready in April 1966. And was written after 200 officers and men, including all the ringleaders involved in the coup, had been exhaustively interrogated. The body of the report is, I am convinced, a thoroughly honest, painstaking, and politically untainted piece of work. The astonishing detail and the formal police language substantiate both its authenticity and veracity. Then it says here, the concept of a coup in Nigeria was not new. Please stay with me. We've started the session now. Nigeria was not new. In the constitutional crisis of December 1964, several lieutenant colonels, mainly Igbos and including Ojukwu, had talked of military intervention, but nothing came out of it, and the army, true to its British traditions, had kept out of politics. You know the reason I slow down is because, remember the book, the interview granted by David Ejo, he had mentioned Ojukwu organizing a coup. The reason I like to have 1, 2, 3 sources for a particular claim is that it helps to see things from different perspectives. David Ejo mentioned how Ojukwu and Bassi reached out to Victor Banjo, himself, David Ejo, and Yakubu Gowon to organize a coup in 1964. And he also mentioned that most of the people that were behind that coup were Igbos. And then he talked about how he eventually went to report the incident to General Foster, and he was the one who told them not to, carry out that kind of thing. Now you are reading it from the special, well, we're going to get to the special branch report later, but you're reading it from this book that indeed Ojukwu had planned to have a coup in 64. And then funny thing, please just stay with me. You're going to have a fantastic time today. Kota Mariloni, oh, beautiful girl. Oh, Daragon. It's going to be beautiful, so you're going to enjoy it. So he says, the concept of a coup in Nigeria was not new. In the constitutional crisis of December 1964, several lieutenant colonels, mainly Igbos and including Ojukwu, had talked of military intervention, but nothing had come of it, and the army, true to its British traditions, had kept out of politics. However, as the situation deteriorated, some of the younger officers began to plot seriously, and it seems probable that the inner circle of the January group had its genesis in August 1965, even before the disastrous or catalytic elections in the Western region are taking place. In other words, I heard Ben Boulier saying that the reason for the coup was the crisis in Western Nigeria late in 1965. Apparently, that crisis happened after they already started planning the coup, and you find that also in Adewale Ademoye's book. They've been talking about the coup for a long time, and they really sat down to plan it in August of 65. Whatever happened in Western region happened in the last quarter of the year. In other words, it was not the events of Ibadan that made them plan the coup. It was just a catalyst, so to speak, for what they were going to do. Why is this important? Because I've read many books, including the one by Max Leon. I think, wasn't maybe Oil and Politics or Nigeria Soldiers of Fortune? Either of those two. There's another one. I read a number of his books. But he kept saying, it was something happened in Ibadan, in Yoruba land. It was the Western region crisis that caused it. And I actually believed it, by the way. I'll say this. There's a difference between the cause and the catalyst. Something could speed something up. It doesn't mean that you did it because of that thing. In other words, you were planning to do it on your own. 64 you were going to do it. 65, you were going to do it. And the things that happened after the coup also shows us exactly what the mind was. And I will say it just like David Edgeworth said it, at the heart of it. Now, this, of course, is not like, oh, did they talk to everybody in our ethnic group before they did it for us? Did they do it on our behalf? Or did they do it on our or did they do it on our type something, somebody asked a question. Maybe I should just quickly answer it. I know I don't want to get distracted, but it's important to answer it. May not just go fly like that, because people read this comment section now live on YouTube and on Facebook. So, and they will also go back to it. So let me say this. Awolowo was sentenced to prison in 1963. From 1963 to 1966, August, he was in Calabar prison. He was in Calabar prison. It's important to make it very clear that what you hear now is the same thing that their parents said in 1967. Whenever the East has a problem owning up to something, they would look for someone else to blame. It's a pattern that in recorded history we can show you from the 1940s. There has not been 1 year since then that they haven't done it. The idea of responsibility, the